Hello and welcome to today's webinar. This is Philip, the pedagogical consultant with the international and higher education teams here at itslearning. I'm very excited to be presenting this topic to you today, remote learning planning courses in itslearning. Welcome to all of you who are joining us from around the world. Thank you for your participation today. These are certainly unprecedented times, and on behalf of the team at itslearning, I wanted to wish you all well. And again, thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's have a look at the agenda for today. We are going to introduce the benefits of the itslearning plans tool, and we're going to show you how teachers and students benefit from a digitized curriculum tool that's well integrated into a calendar. I will show you a live demo in the itslearning environment to show you what this looks like from both a student and teacher's perspective. And finally, I will finish up the webinar with some questions and answers. We're doing a series of short, powerful webinars, so trying to keep this one to 20 to 25 minutes. We do have the question tool in the GoToWebinar panel. Please feel free to type any questions during the webinar, and we will do our best to answer them during, and if not, just after the webinar. All right, let's have a look at using the benefits of using a digitized plans tool. The main benefit for students and teachers is that the plans tool link together the curriculum, the resources, the activities, the collaboration opportunities that teachers create, the required reading, any information or activities that students have to be successful. And these links between the curriculum and the resources really guide the student in connecting the learning objectives of your course and your unit outline through to the practical activities, because sometimes there's that disconnect between what you're asking a student to do and why are we doing this at this time. The next benefit of using a tool such as this is itslearning automatically links together your calendar, which is events that you need to be in. In this day and age, it's more and more online classes, or traditionally it's physical workshops, physical lectures. It links together those calendar events and the plans in itslearning. So not only can students and teachers see where they need to be, but they can also see the resources and the activities and the elements that they have to be successful in these lectures and workshops. Plans are really easy to copy, reuse, and share. We know that this is super important for teachers to collaboratively build unit outlines, collaboratively build resources, and we need to make it super easy for teachers to reuse their content and plans semester after semester, but also to collaboratively build these and then use them in their own student-facing courses. So especially for universities that have courses distributed amongst many physical locations, you're going to want to centrally build your plans and your courses and then disseminate that information down to the student-facing courses at each of your locations. Finally, the customizable plans are really configurable to your university or your department's needs. So I'm going to show you some of the more advanced settings, but I don't think a typical classroom teacher should need to go into those settings. Typically, a department or institution or university decides their default view, and then they provide that as a template to teachers to build on from there. So it's really customizable right down to the terminology, the way that the plans are released, and we'll show that on our demo. And this, I promise, is finally, everyone involved needs to know what's happening at all times. So yeah, very important when you're structuring your unit plans that all students and teachers have the information that they need right in front of them in their digital learning space. and they're not having to refer to a static unit curriculum that they use at the beginning of the semester and then don't really look at again until the assessment pieces. All right, I want to give you the demo of this solution in itslearning, and then we will follow up with some next steps and questions. So please do type in any questions that you have while you're watching the demo. Before I get started on the demo of the itslearning Plans tool, I want to give you an overview of the experience when a teacher or student logs in. I realize that many of you aren't familiar with itslearning, and a quick tour of the system will probably be helpful at this stage. So Runa is a teacher here. He's a staff member, and when he logs in, his default view that he's chosen is the course cards page, or a list of all of his courses. And this is a great view because Runa can see all of the courses that he's a teacher in, or maybe even some that he's a student in, and he can quickly access the course and see what is going on in them, the number of tasks or updates within each course. Runa could also choose to land on the Updates tab, and the Updates tab is great because it shows all of the most recently added content and activities, as well as the tasks that Runa is responsible for. Now, Runa is a teacher, so the tasks that he's responsible for are most likely to be answering assignments that students have submitted, potentially some manually grading some tests if they're not automatically graded, or providing feedback in other such activities. So we can see here that students have completed work, and Runa as a teacher in these courses has direct access in to assess these 6 students. Further down, Runa can see all of the calendar events that are in his calendar for the various courses and projects that he's a member of. So this is a great view because it gives Runa a snapshot of everything that's going on within the itslearning LMS. And this is all aggregated. No one needs to post anything here. It's all automatically brought in through the happenings in the courses that Runa is a member of. So let's go ahead and log into one of Runa's courses. So he simply grabs the course menu here, and today Runa is going to look at his language teaching course. Once you enter a course, you get this sub menu going on, and this shows Runa all of the features within his course here in this sub menu here, like the participants, the students in his course, as well as instant access to tools like Kaltura Video Gallery or Zoom video conferencing tool. That's right here in his course menu. The course landing page looks very similar to the home screen that I showed with the updates. However, this is specific information to the course. Only to the course, such as the events for this course that often come from a third-party calendar system, the tasks related to this course, as well as the plans, which we're going to get into in a moment. We also see the bulletins or the announcements that Runa has sent out to his class, and a future webinar session will show more in detail some of these communication tools. Okay, I always think it's best to have a look at the student experience because that's why we're all here today. So let's go ahead here and switch to the student toggle to see how a student sees this course. Now, before we get into the plans tool itself, I want to show you the dashboard or overview page of the plans, because this is really where the magic happens and why so many higher education organizations are choosing itslearning, because it places the learning front and center right here. So when the student's reviewing the course, they can see all of the content and the plans that are relevant to this point in time. So it's very easy to see what are we going to cover in the upcoming lecture or workshops, and what activities and resources do I have to be successful. So let's go ahead here and click the Start button and check out the student's view of the plan. So in English Grammar in week 13, we're in Module 1 English Grammar. Here's the description that my teachers have set for me of what this module is all about. This course is about teaching teachers teaching to be teachers. It's a university course offering how to teach English language skills. And the plans has this thing that we call the interactive plan viewer. But what it really means is that for a student, it's super easy to navigate through this week's activities. We can see lectures, Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, discussion forums, assignments, lecture slides, all sorts of information here relevant to week 13. So as a student, it's really nice to see how my information here can be scaffolded, and how I can consume the lecture recording is embedded right in a page here. And I can also see these questions that my teacher has provided me to think about for today's lecture. So as I'm watching the lecture, these questions are right here, giving me something to reflect on as I'm navigating through this week's modules. There's some interactivity within these pages as well. My lecturer has asked me a poll question, so I can go ahead there and vote in there and see how other students poll as they are watching the lectures and thinking about the reflection questions. So my teacher has designed this plan to guide me through. There was the lecture recording before. Here's the lecture slides. And let's jump ahead here to a document. Microsoft files open really well in itslearning. We don't want students to have to download these, regardless of what device you're using. It works really nicely to just look at these Microsoft files. So after all of these resources in the course, my teacher has also provided some collaboration opportunities. So these speech bubbles mean that there is a discussion forum here that students and teachers can use to collaborate and ask questions. Great for asynchronous learning and remote learning like we're doing today. And there's also an assessment here where I, as a student, am asked to submit my personal reflection on my recent time as a teacher at university. And they've even provided an answer file there that I can use when completing this activity. So this is a little bit of a tour through the course plans tool of what's happening right now from a student's perspective. But what students also really like is that it's super easy and consistently used across the university. So every course has a number of modules in it, and the modules are subdivided by weeks or subtopics or themes. All of this is fully customizable, which I'll show you when I switch back to the teacher's view. So another way to view this course is via the overview page. I was looking at what's relevant today. What are the topics covering today's lessons? But in the Plans tab, I can see all of the modules that my lecturer has activated and all of the content that he or she has made available to me. So it's really easy to backtrack in time, study ahead, and prepare. And a really nice design that makes it easy for me as a student to understand what resources do I have to be successful, what activities are we doing, who's my teacher, and all of the information and instant links into these activities. And one last piece as a student view. Another reason this plans tool is so popular in presenting information is the way that it links a calendar event to a plan. So the teacher has decided that this plan is for week 13, and within the calendar view, the student can instantly see all of the plans that are relevant for this specific event. So what I'm showing here is the teacher has moved this lecture on Friday to a Zoom video conference. Here's the link there. And what this means is that for a student, they can see not only the event that they need to be at. They need to be in this Zoom video conference on Friday the 27th of March, but also all of the content and curriculum that is related to this particular Zoom video conference. So it's learning. What it's doing for the teacher is linking together the physical meeting, whether it's a lecture on campus or a Zoom video conference in this example, with the actual digital curriculum outlining the activities, resources, collaboration opportunities, and more for the students. All right, let's get out of the student view and go back to Runa's default view. So I just click that little guy up in the little corner here and click back to view it back as a teacher for Runa. So Runa's view is a little bit different. His tasks are to assess students who have done activities, and he has lots of flexibility here when he is using the plans tool. So itslearning makes it simple and super easy to add a new topic or add a new plan. And these terms, this terminology can be fully customized by your organization. So I like the concept of topic, a big chunk of unit, like Module 1, Module 2, and then plans, a sub-plan within that. But you can choose whatever terminology you like for the larger chunk of concepts and then the smaller pieces here. So let's have a look at Module 1. And again, itslearning makes it super easy. Just click the big green button to anytime you need to do something next. Click to add a plan, and then you can fill in the details about what this is here. Now, one thing that you'll see different in Runa's view that was not available in the student's view was this teacher's notes column. So in the configuration of this plan, because Runa is co-teaching the course, the co-teachers have added teacher's notes that's only visible to teachers, and this is tips on how to teach the lesson, information that maybe the recipient of the plan may not know if you are collaboratively building up these modules as teachers. So really handy and much loved feature is the ability to add in something like teacher's notes. Another common column that universities add in is required reading, and that is a column showing just the texts and articles and resources that students are required to read before they complete a module or move into the next piece of content. Now, we were talking earlier about scaffolding of knowledge and the sequence that the student consumes the course in. And it's super easy with itslearning just to navigate and pull and move these files around so that we can change the order of things and really scaffold the knowledge from the student first in the consumption of information. They're watching lecture recordings, they're consuming PowerPoints, moving through to higher thinking skills like analysis and critical thinking in the activities and the collaboration opportunities here. So really simple to move things around, really simple to delete or move to a different plan if your order is incorrect. So this action menu holds a lot of features that are really powerful for teachers. I think one of the most powerful is the copying of a plan. Now, a really typical use case is that a group of teachers, they get together in one teacher-only course. They collaboratively build up the modules, build up the curriculum, build up the resources, and then when the teacher is ready to go, they simply select a single plan or all of the plans or even the entire topic, and they copy it into their student-facing courses. So if we copy it into a test course. I'm going to keep the dates available. I'm going to copy all of the resources and activities. I want to copy the entire plan, and I'm going to click copy. So that takes just a moment, and I've gone right from this teacher collaboration space right into my student-facing space just by clicking a couple of buttons and copying this. We also have the ability to share a plan if a teacher wants to make their plans available to find from other teachers. That's also possible here. The planner is really customizable. I'm not going to go into the settings here, but within the settings area, you can change the fields, the names, the order of these sequences, because institutions and departments like to customize the plans in their own view. And say the Department of Pedagogy or the pedagogy institution, they want their own course design to give to all of the teachers within the pedagogical department. So I'm not going to go into the deep settings here, but just you know, every time you see the ellipsis menu in itslearning, that's where you're going to find the advanced settings where you can really tweak and configure things like the plans tool. Okay, so I've given you a quick demo of how courses are structured, how they are linked to calendar events, how teachers can easily collaboratively build up content, copy content across from courses, how they can activate and deactivate plans if they're still in the process of being created. But one last piece about plans that I want to touch on is the task that all teachers need to do, and that is, am I providing enough opportunity for my students to learn the learning objectives and the curriculum of the course? And for this reason, itslearning's implemented an alignment report. And what this does is it shows all of the course goals within the course and how often they are aligned to content and activities within the course. So this helps me as a teacher to understand, okay, the goal of explaining and comparing educational models, that's added to 3 elements. It's added to this plan, it's added to this assignment, and it's added to this lecture PowerPoint slides. So it really challenges me to think, have I provided enough opportunity for my students to participate, to achieve this objective? And you can see some of these where I don't have any content or activities. These are areas that I need to focus on for my course. Similarly, if a student is struggling in one of these areas, it's really easy to find additional content for that student, or to make me reflect and say, hang on, maybe I need to create some extra opportunities for students to learn and engage with this particular objective. Okay, so I hope that demo gave you a good overview of the plans feature and how it allows teachers to structure smaller learning opportunities and to plan their full modules and communicate the learning goals and content with students. Also, the link to the calendar is very important there to connect the time with the resources and activities that students are expected to do. I also wanted to show how easily teachers can copy, share, and reuse their content. So I hope you got a good idea of how that can be done using the itslearning plans tool. If you have been enjoying this webinar, we do have a full series of these introduction to itslearning style webinars where previously in the week or last week we ran Zoom video conferencing integration webinar. Today was planning courses. On Friday we have the creating assignments, and on Tuesday we have communication tools. So again, short, powerful webinars showing you how the functionality can be used in itslearning to support remote learning. And if you are interested in these webinars, the same link that you signed up to this one itslearning.com/gobolt/remote learning webinars. We'll follow up with that in an email to you all. Some next steps for you all: if you're already a user of It's Learning and you like what you saw today and you could use some additional help or discuss some ideas, please do reach out to your key account manager. We are able to support you in your transition to distance education. If you're interested in implementing It's Learning, please also use this web address or reply or follow up in the email that we send after this webinar, and we'll get you in touch with the right people who can discuss your needs. And as always, please follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. That's the best places to keep up to date with the upcoming webinars and events and user conferences that we have. So I'm just going to check the questions panel. That demo went pretty quick. 25 minutes goes kind of quickly. So we do have one question about teachers collaborating in a shared course and then copying their plans. Okay, yeah, this is a really popular way to use It's Learning, where teachers collaboratively build up modules. You might get one teacher to work on the content for Module 1 and the other teacher to work on the content for Module 2, and then they can collaboratively build that up. And one of the great additions to that is using the It's Learning library, where you can decide that content is centrally stored, and that means that when it's updated in one place, it's updated in all of the courses that are using that place. So it's a little bit up to your organization and how you decide whether teachers should use the course as it's designed centrally, or whether they have the freedom and flexibility to customize the course and the content and adapt it to their teaching style. We have another comment there about the scaffolding of knowledge. And yes, you saw when I rearranged the content, that's changing the sequence that students consume content in. So you can even do this for really micro-learning style of activities where you know, a plan for a very short amount of time, like 5 minutes or a half an hour, where students consume a bit of information, do a collaborative activity or a peer assessment or a survey to really get engagement going before a lecture or often is the case these days, a live web conference. That is all the questions for now. So I do want to thank you all for joining. I appreciate you spending this time with us today. And once again, on behalf of It's Learning, we'd like to wish you and your teams and your families well in these times. And please do use these contact methods shown on the screen if there is something that we can support you with or you have any follow-up questions as a result of this webinar. We hope to see you on Friday for the assignment webinar, and have a great day. Thank you for joining.